Today, we're going to be going over two different topics. The first one, we're going to be going over net sheets, and then we're going to be going over Stewart Now, which is a mobile app. So whether you have an Android phone or an Apple phone, you'll be able to go on and use it in the palm of your hand. There are two versions of it. There's a mobile app and a desktop version. You'll be able to log into both. And the nice thing is they're free to use. All you gotta do is just get signed up. So in that case, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with our net sheets today. And I'm going to share the screen. So can everybody see the Stewart Title website? Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. I'm seeing some nodding heads. Okay. So the most important thing to do is, if you want, you can either bookmark this page or you can bookmark the next one. Our main web page is stewart.com/northern-Nevada. So that's the most important thing to remember. This landing page right here is going to give you, at the top, there's a little toolbar of all the things you can go look at. Once you get through our little talk about Nevada and how cool it is and how everybody should live here, you're going to see our office locations. So this is kind of helpful too, just to know if you're working with somebody in Gardnerville, maybe you're trying to figure out which Reno office you're working in, because we do have 4 in Reno. So sorry about that. It makes it a little more complicated for you. Depending on which office, you can actually click on it. You can click on the details, and then you're able to see the location and who actually works there for the escrow officer. So that's something I always like to point out to you guys. They'll show management, and then it'll start showing a little bit of the escrow officers and the sales reps and all that good stuff. But the thing that we are interested in today is the net sheet. So in the middle of the page, go to Tools and Resources, and when you hover over it, you'll see Get a Quote. So that's where you're going to go. Now, if you don't want to do that every single time, all you have to do is this web page that's going to load up here in a minute. All you have to do is just click on this, the URL right here. I'm sorry, you can't see what I'm pointing at. And then click on your little star. Or if you're using Internet Explorer or Firefox, there should be a similar button right here, and that lets you add it to your bookmarks. And then you will always have it there. You'll never have to come back to it. Okay. So once we scroll down, it's going to say Rate Calculator, and there's 3 different buttons. We're going to focus on the seller net sheet today. You can use a buyer close sheet, and that will estimate our title and escrow fees, but we really recommend that you guys talk to the lender. The lender is going to have all of their lender fees too, and they'll also have our fees already, and it will be a much more accurate picture for the buyer as to how much cash they're going to need to bring to close. So again, not saying you can't use it. It's just going to reflect only our fees and won't show any lender fees. Another thing to note too is that these sheets do not reflect any type of discounts. So we do have first-time home buyer, senior citizen, veteran, active military, active police, civil servant, you name it. There's probably a discount that may apply, but they don't show up on the sheet. So we'll have a sheet that everybody gets at the end of this. You'll just have to do the math yourself and do some numbers, or you can always ask an escrow officer or myself as well, and we're able to run those numbers for you. Make sure you get a more accurate number. So why do you guys need to use a seller net sheet? It's most important when you guys are trying to get a listing presentation. That is going to help you when you sit down with them, say, hey, I want to be your realtor. I want to help with your listing. This is how much I can get for you. You can either run this with them side by side, or you can do this in preparation of your listing appointment, and you're able to run through and it will spit out what the seller is going to make proceeds wise, and what all the costs are going to be and who's covering what. So it's kind of a powerful tool to be able to walk into a listing and say, hey, look at this. I'm going to sell your house for this much and you'll make this much money. Let's talk more about the brass tacks and how I can make this happen. So it's pretty helpful. You may have some clients too who are just watching the market, may feel that the market is going down or that the market's going up, and they want to know, hey, if we did a price reduction or price increase, what would it look like? And this net sheet really helps out, being able to show, hey, we're going to go down by 10,000. How does that reflect on the actual title and escrow fees and the actual proceeds? So hopefully that makes sense to everybody so far. Pretty straightforward. Cool. All right. So the very first thing that we're going to do is, once you click on the seller net sheet, you have to enter the city. None of the rest of this stuff starts working until you enter the city. So we're just going to make an executive decision and say we're in Reno, Nevada, Reno, Nevada, Washoe County, and it's going to automatically start filling in some stuff. The estimated close date is not a guarantee. By putting a date in here, you're not really changing too much and you're not pinning yourself to a particular date. We always recommend just to put it out at least a month. Then it makes it look a little bit easier. Next thing that you're going to do, you're either going to have a cash or a mortgage. If you're doing cash, numbers are going to look a lot different. Mortgage, it's going to give us more options and show us all the details that are on this page. So, all right, for our next piece right here, we are going to have the sales price. So this is where I get to either call on people or you guys can all just magically turn off your cameras and I have to fill it in by myself. So totally up to you guys. For a sales price, what are we thinking? Carrie, do you have any good sales prices that you want to put in here? $1 million home, $5 million home?
Let's do 800,000.
800,000?
Mhm.
All right. Okay, Merlene, this is where you come in. Loan amount. Does the seller have a mortgage that is already existing on their house that they need to pay off?
Do 250,000.
250,000. Okay.
Just an estimate.
All right, so that's where you're going to fill it in there. Now, should your client have a second mortgage or any other payoffs that you know of, this is where you can put them in. There's these cool little arrows right here on the side. All right. Property taxes are going to be auto-computated, so you don't really need to worry about those. But if you have a custom rate that you need to put in, this is where you can go in and do those. But property taxes will be figured out for you. Now, as you can see, some of these numbers are already filled in because it's pulling from the sales price of the actual home, assuming that that's the loan amount. If your buyers are doing a different loan amount, you could put that in. It's really not going to matter too much, but that's where all these prices are coming from. They're automatically assuming, hey, they're going to get this house for 800,000, and they're pulling all of our fees. So right here, it's going to, based on that 800,000, it's going to automatically say owner's policy and lender's policy. This is based off of what usually happens. So usually the seller buys the title policy for the buyer and the buyer covers the lender's policy. We're in what's called a seller pay state, more or less. Now, sometimes that can change. Sometimes buyers offer to pay for their own title and escrow. Sometimes there's an offer of a split. So this is where you can go in and actually say which one you want. Another thing to remember too, we have different policies that you can select. It looks like it's only letting us do the basic policy. We do have an extended policy, but we really don't try to push that too much on you guys. A normal policy should cover almost every single house in Nevada. The only ones that we really like to see extended policies on are the middle of nowhere properties that have been around for hundreds of years and we cannot find a full chain of title. That's when we'll start recommending an extended. But the nice thing is if you're working in an established city like Fallon, Fernley, Reno, 99% of the time, we're going to recommend a basic policy, so you don't even have to worry about it. Okay, so owner's policy. Basic looks like it's a little more than 2,000. It'll be covered by the seller. Lender's policy, they're going to get just the normal extended. That's the official loan policy that they call it, and that's covered by the buyer. These fees are already plugged in and they already separate them appropriately. So this one, you're really not going to have to click into unless you want to change who's paying for what. So that's easy. Now this is the one that gets a little bit more fun. Costs and credits. So here is where you get to put in how much you guys are going to make, if there's any HOA costs, if there's any additional notary costs, if there's any credits that the sellers are giving, anything like that. As you can see, it's filled in with what we call customary. So for example, 6%, hopefully that's what you and the other realtor are making on the deal. If there's any decrease, you can obviously write that in. Broker commission, that's going to be that final calculated number from the 6%. And then the HOA demand and resale package. So if there's an HOA on this property that Carrie is working on, this is where you might put it in. Sometimes, traditionally, the sellers cover the transfer of the HOA, but they don't cover the opening dues of the HOA. HOA transfer fees range anywhere from $50 all the way to 500. It's really different all throughout the city. So Carrie, is our $800,000 house, does it have an HOA that we need to write down?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What do you think? 150?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So our seller's being generous and they're paying for it. It's not always the case, but when we go to home warranty, sometimes sellers purchase a home warranty for the buyers. It's just a show of, hey, we're leaving some equipment here. We hope it's covered and we hope it doesn't, malfunction. We hope the refrigerator doesn't start spitting out water. So sometimes they'll buy a home warranty, but they do not always have to do that. So Merlene, we're going to go to you. Do we want to get a home warranty for our buyers?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Do we like 350? Is that a good number?
550 probably.
550. All right. Now, the realtor transaction processing. If you guys have any additional fees that you guys have negotiated with them, maybe they're covering some of the marketing costs, maybe they've agreed to pay a little extra, that's where you can put it in. We also put in the notary costs. So ever since COVID has started, we have been using notaries. They are an additional charge because we're not having our escrow officers do the signings. We're having an outside notary service. Most of the time, they are charging about $100, $150. So that's where that number is coming from. If you don't think a notary is going to take place, or you think maybe we don't need this, we can always put that at 0. Now, another one too that you can do, miscellaneous credits, or you can put additional closing costs right here. These, for any reason, could be any of those credits that a seller is giving to the buyer. Maybe they want to help with closing costs. Maybe they want to offer some money for repairs, which is pretty traditional for a seller to offer about $500,000. This is where you guys are able to put those in. They have a plus button, so you can add as many things as you want. We even had a client a couple of years back who offered to pay for the first payment of sewer, electricity, and garbage, just to make sure there was no gap, no nothing like that, and it just carried over to the next person. So if your seller decides to do it, that's where they can put it all in. Right now, it's a seller's market, so I would be very surprised if anybody really does much of anything right there, because they can pretty much ask for the moon and the stars. Now, this last section right here, this is traditionally how it goes. We make sure the buyer pays for the deed recording fees, mortgage recording fees, seller covers the release recording, deed transfer, and the mortgage transfer tax goes to the buyer. If for any reason you guys decide to split them, you can click into this link and it will come down and it will say net proceeds are going to be about $494,682. So just to take a look at the whole thing again, this property that is being sold is in Reno. It's going to close sometime in October. The person is getting a mortgage to purchase it. It's going to sell for $800. The seller has to cover the existing mortgage of $250 and then cover some costs that are going to help out the buyer and get them out of the house. So they'll walk away with a little less than $500,000. So pretty good, not bad at all. The nice thing is you can either if you like how this looks, you can create the estimate and it will actually let you enter everybody's information and download as a PDF. So that's where you can put in your name, put in your client's name, make it look nice and fancy. Or if you're not happy with that number, or maybe you're sitting with your client and they want to look at different numbers, you can just start editing and you can say, maybe we have more of a loan than we thought we did. And you should change that number. It'll automatically update at the very bottom. Now, one of the most important things I like to point out to you guys is this little disclaimer at the very bottom. It's a protection not only for us, but it's a protection for you as well. We don't guarantee these rates. Rates change, times change. COVID is proof of that. And if for whatever reason, the exact proceeds are not what matches here, it's just a time. Could be a penny off, could be $1 off. We could find out other existing conditions that we need to take care of in the middle of the escrow that may affect their proceeds. So it's a nice little note there that says, hey, this is a general idea, but it's not necessarily a guarantee. Does that make sense to everybody? Pretty straightforward, I hope.
Yeah, when I do mine, I always put in bold rough estimate.
That's always a good idea,
Just so it's re-clarified.
Yep. Rough estimate. We're giving you an idea. We're getting into the process, and depending on what the title commitment comes up with, depending on what the lender may find,
Yeah.
numbers may
Things
change.
could change.
Exactly. Okay, that's pretty much all we've got on net sheets. They're pretty straightforward and easy. I was going to move us over to the Stewart Now app, if that's all right with everybody. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to show you guys the app first, and then we're going to move to the desktop version, just because the desktop version is very, very easy to work with. Okay. All right, you guys should be able to see my screen. Oh, and it forgot who I was. Okay, so the most important thing while I'm typing all this in, depending on your phone, just go to your Android or Google App Store, and you are going to search for Stewart Now. And then once you guys will be, oh, it's not giving me the right thing. Uno momento, I gotta go find my password. We will
It says Stewart Now Premium. Is that the same?
Yep, that's what it'll be called. Depending on, or my apologies. Sorry, I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. We will be signing all of you guys up for this at the end of the day. So you guys will be receiving an email that lets you know, hey, you have access to Stewart Now. So you can download the app right now if you like, but don't try to log in quite yet. Here in about 5-10 minutes, I'll be making accounts for all you guys, and you'll be able to log in. Okay, now that we've got that. All right, so once you've logged into Stewart, this is what your page will look like. So like I said, I'll sign you guys up. You'll get an email, you'll create your username and password, and then you'll be presented with this page. It will show you your location. So at the top, you can see that I am based in my office right now across from Ranchera, and it's going to show a couple stats about Reno, Nevada. Then at the very bottom, it'll have, I'm so sorry about this, but it'll have my ugly mug there all the time. So if you have any questions or you run into any problems, you'll always be able to click on my face and give me a call really quick. If you don't like my face, just don't scroll down. Okay, so on the left-hand side, right at the very top, you're not going to see my face there. That's where your account is going to live. So the first thing that I encourage you guys to do is go ahead and click on that, and you can go in and enter all of your information. You can add your picture if you need to, put in your phone number, email, make sure that your profile is as full as you would like it to be. Now, the second part of this, it's going to show the main features that we have on here, which are property profiles, calculators, whoops, my bad, farms. The order tracking does not yet work, but we'll get to that here in a second. And it also lists office locations. So the most important thing about this is in your pocket, you have access to property profiles, pretty basic, calculators like the calculator we just used, and smart farms. The smart farms are extremely basic farms. So if you're looking for a different type of farm, one that's maybe a little bit more specific, hey, I want houses from 1980, not 1990, you're going to have to contact our customer service. But if you're just looking for a farm in the local area, it's pretty easy. So we're going to start at the very, very first one. We're going to click on property profiles. And what's a property that we're looking for? Anybody have a property they want to look up? Okay, you guys are making it tough on me. All right, well, we'll be nice and boring and we'll just look up our house. Driftwood Drive. And it is in Sparks. And as you can see at the very, very top, you can change it by owner. So you can search by owner. So you can find out where Justin Timberlake lives if you want, or you can search by APN if you're a crazy person and have APNs memorized. All right, so it'll think for a minute, retrieve some property data, and there you go. So look at that. I did not know our house was worth that much. That's interesting. Okay, I don't think I'd pay that. So at the very top, you're going to see a map. It's supplied by Apple or Google, depending on which phone provider you have. It should show the home right there. And then it's going to give you some basic facts. So it's going to show when it was built, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, all that good stuff. It's going to have some property notes, and it will give you guys some basic ownership information. So it'll show when Melissa and I bought our house. It'll show you guys the last vesting deed, which is kind of helpful for you guys to look at, tax assessment, land records. And down here, you'll actually be able to pull up some more information, such as, let's try and value the property. Let's look at some sales comparables, transaction history, all that good stuff. So, for example, we could look at the sales comparables and start plugging in some numbers. It's automatically going to pull a mile radius, and it's going to pull from the last 12 months. Now, especially in our market, 12 months is not a whole lot of time. So if you think you need to put in some more time in there or change those parameters at all, on the top right, oh, it's not going to let me. All right. So the sales comparable, oh, maybe we have to click on the view. It's automatically just going to spit out a high, low, and an average. And then once we go in here, it's going to give us more specifics. So we can change up our comparables just a little bit. So looks like, yep, it's pulling from just the area around, and then we can click on filter on the top right, or it's not going to let me. Okay, it's letting me change distance, and it's not letting me click on the filter button. So this is I guess it's more homework for me. I get to go find out why it's not working. However, it lists properties all around the area, shows how much they're going for, and then that relates back to the actual sales summary as to the high, the low, and the average. So it helps you guys out just a little bit. Transaction history, you can see a little bit more of what exactly has happened with this house, who has purchased it in the past, how many hands has it passed through. So usually this goes back to the history, to the origination of the home. Looks like this one is going back to 93, and this house was built in 71. And then underneath, you can see nearby schools, and you can see demography of the area. So you don't necessarily have to share the demography if you're not comfortable sharing that with people. It's public information. So everything on here is pulled from public record, and it's just packaged to look really nice. However, if you feel like you don't want to show how many people are unemployed in the neighborhood, maybe the ethnicity of the neighborhood, it's not necessarily something that you have to show. Your clients can go find it on their own, and they're able to look up the average income, all that good stuff. So those are your property profiles. Again, if you guys are seeking more information, like a parcel map, maybe you guys need more documents than just the last vesting deed, you can actually reach out to our customer service department, and they can do a little bit of research. So they'll be able to actually pull a full property profile, and it will also list areas of interest nearby, including school. It includes the schools, but also grocery stores, vets, everything like that. And they're also able to pull extra information. They might be able to see if there's an existing lien on the house. Maybe you need a grant bargain sale deed, any additional information. So that's kind of good. The Stewart Now app is very kind of tip of the iceberg. It's a helpful tool in the field. All right, so we're going to go back and go and look at the calculators really quick, just for you guys to add an estimate. There we go. So on the top right, that's where you're going to click the plus button, and it will automatically pull up all the calculators available to you guys. These are the calculators we already have on our website and the ones that we just looked at. So mortgage calculator, that'll help you sit down with a client who might be interested in buying and kind of calculate, hey, how much do you think this house will be worth? Again, you should probably refer to the lender, but you can also run that seller's net sheet. This thing works the same exact way as what we just looked at. It's just formatted just a little bit differently. You can click open all of these arrows, and again, it presents the same exact information, all of the same splits, all that good stuff. Calculators make sense to everybody, I hope. Okay. Now, last but not least, smart farms. So the way that this works is it's going to show you where you're at. It's going to show the surrounding neighborhood. You're going to be able to pull a particular area. You'll be able to draw it, or you'll just be able to circle where it's at, and it will pull you every single property in that area. The only problem is you're not able to edit it. So you're not able to say, hey, I don't want the business buildings. I only want the single family residences. I only want houses built in 1990. It's just going to tell you everything in the immediate area. Sometimes it's nice to be able to use, especially if you're in the field and you're walking down the street and you're about to knock on a door, and maybe you want to know who's living in that house. That way you can address them. Maybe you want to know if it's a renter house. Somebody is living there who doesn't actually own it. It's kind of a good tool to use. You'll be able to save these and access them later on your desktop, which I'll show you guys here in a minute. So really quick, we're just going to zoom in and we're going to do right around Reed High School. So this little neighborhood right here. You can click on the little button, you can draw a little circle, just like that. It'll retrieve the boundary and it'll spit back out and say, hey, this is how many properties are here. And this is what we're able to do. So once you're here, you can actually click on an individual dot and you're able to pull up a property profile then and there of the property. Now, let me see. I believe there was a place that we could save it. And that button may have gone away. I think you have to hit preview first and then you're able to save. They just updated the app on me just this week. So we're still learning the new updates and where all the buttons went. Now, while this is loading, another feature that is on here that unfortunately just isn't available yet is the order sheet and the order tracking. We are still working on getting that integrated, being as we moved from Western Title to Stewart Title, and they transferred all of our software. All of our gals are finally up to speed on the new software, but we just don't have integration with Stewart now. We're taking baby steps, one step at a time. The beauty of it is that starting in 2022, we're going to offer the order tracking. It will keep every order you've ever done with us. So you'll be able to look back at an order that already happened or an order that is currently going and see documents that have been uploaded into the file, see the process. So instead of emailing your escrow officer and saying, hey, just want to check in, where are we at? You could log into the order tracking and see, hey, the title commitment is 2 days away from being done. Or title commitment is finished and we just got the inspections from the buyer. So you'll be able to see some of that order tracking available. So like I mentioned, with the farm, once you are happy with what you've got, it'll spit out a little preview, it looks like, and then you're able to hit save. The previous version just had save on the bottom right. And this is where you're going to be able to access it on the desktop version. So those are the main things on the app, the mobile app that I want to show you. I'm going to move us to the actual desktop version so you can see what that looks like as well. Are there any questions before we move to the desktop version? Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing on here. And we're gonna share this again. Okay, so right here is our website. So if you decide to use the desktop version, it's called stewartnow.com. Makes it super nice and easy. You can also find the link of it on our webpage. Once you log in, you'll see your profile right over here. And here are all of your options. Dashboard is going to help you see, again, what the city looks like. Orders does not work yet. It's just going to say 0 orders and not show anything. You'll be able to look at property profiles again. Now, smart farms, here's the really strange caveat. You're not able to run farms on the desktop version. No idea why. You're able to run it on your phone and you're able to save it, and then you have to look at it on the desktop. It's a little funky. It's a little strange. We're not really sure how that's working and what they're going to do with it. We'd prefer to be able to do both on your phone and both on the desktop, but that's what we get. So the farm that we just ran, you can click download and it'll spit out an Excel sheet. It'll say the name of the person, the street address, mailing address. It'll show if it's owner occupied, year it was built, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, square footage, all that good stuff, which is pretty nice. And then additionally up here, it'll have your Stewart rate calculators and some additional tools. You're able to do an image search on here. However, you need to know the document numbers. So you can always reach out to customer service. However, if you're asking them for some document numbers about a property, you're probably already going to have them offering it to you because they're already pulling it. So completely up to you. This is not letting me download though, which is probably not a good sign. So that might be a little bit of an issue. It's just kind of spinning and thinking. So while that is loading, does anybody have any questions about Stewart Now, any of those tools? Silence is golden. Okay. Well, apart from the farm loading, that is everything that I've got to show you guys today. Again, use net sheets, especially with listings, helps you guys out that way. If you guys need to use the buyer sheet, you're more than welcome to use it. However, we really recommend you guys talk to the lender. We really only like to use the buyer one if you're doing a cash buyer. And when it comes to the app, it's really helpful on the fly to be able to have a property profile. Maybe you're walking, you're driving your clients around town, you see a house on the corner and it has a for sale sign and you're already calling to try and get an appointment. You can pull up the property profile then and there without having to give us a call, which is pretty nice. Looks like our farm loaded. So I just want to give you guys a little sneak peek as to what it looks like. Let's move this over. All right, so it gives you a nice little dashboard in the beginning. It looks at that area, says how many records you have, how many have turned over recently, how many are on the market right now, how many have sold. But once you get into Complete Farm, it's actually going to show you their APNs, who actually owns the property. It'll break it down by their names, the property address, owner occupied versus absentee owner, when it was built, square footage. All of this information is at your disposal. So it's pretty nice. Now, like I mentioned, the only caveat is that the farm that you pull off of here, you're only able to circle neighborhoods. You're not able to actually say, hey, I just want a half-mile radius from this area, or I want up here and up and over here and down south. If you're looking for a farm that is a little bit more narrowed down and one that is a little bit more catered towards what you need, I really recommend you guys send me an email or contact customer service. We both know how to run them and get you guys numbers that are more accurate to what you're looking for, whether you want to know year it was built, equity percentage, anything like that. So, but nonetheless, it's kind of a helpful tool just to have in your back pocket. So with that being said, that is how you work Stewart now. Pretty straightforward and easy. So I need to make sure that I have everybody's emails to get you guys signed up. Carrie, I believe I have yours, unless has your email changed now that you're a realtor?
No, it's still the same.
Okay. Lanessa, I got an email from you. So I've got Lanessa's, and Merlene and Mike, I've got yours. So what I'll be doing in the next 5-10 minutes is signing you guys up. You guys should see an email pop through to your S&P email inviting you to join Stewart now. Make an email or make a username, make a password, and you guys are off to the races.
A quick question. Did you have that farm list up on your screen? Because I didn't see it.
I didn't see anything either.
Oh,
The share screen was blank for me. I just thought maybe it was just mine.
oh,
Nope.
my bad. I'm so sorry. Hopefully you guys can see
Oh,
it now.
there it is.
Hey,
There we
there we go.
Okay.
Okay, so just to review it again, when it comes through as an Excel sheet, the very front page is a dashboard. So it'll give you some stats about the area that you just pulled. And
Okay.
it will give you the complete farm, which is going to give you all the information, including APN, the name of the owner, if it's owner occupied, if it's absentee, year it was built, square footage, bedroom, bathroom, all that good stuff. It will also break it down into some other farms as well. So people who have positive equity, so that means their house is more than certainly gained property value. Ones that may not have equity, maybe they've taken out too much on their home. It'll have owner occupied, absentee, and then what Stewart qualifies as the hot list. And they're just saying, hey, these are probably mostly absentee owners with positive equity in the house. We want to sell this house, get the renters to buy something else. Might be a good hit for you. So now that you guys can see it, hopefully that helps a little bit more. Thanks for pointing that out.
Much better.
Good. All right. Well, that is all that I have for you guys today. Our next class is going to be in September. And as of this moment, we do not have a topic. So if there is something that you guys are interested in learning about, maybe it's a database that we have, maybe you guys want to learn about probate or FERPTA, maybe you guys just want to see how many jokes I know, feel free to send me any of the topics that you guys would like to have covered. And we also offer new agent trainings, which we have one coming up in about an hour. So lucky us. Well, thank you guys for coming today. I really appreciate it. And we will see you guys at the next class. And thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a good
Have a
day.
great- have a great day, you guys. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.